Hello, my name is Whitney Lemon. I work on Google's Get Your Business Online team, and joining me today in the Google small business community is Erica Johansson. Erica works on the social impact team at Google, focused on helping nonprofits make the most of the web. Prior to Google, she was a strategy director at Purpose, where she worked with NGOs, brands, and corporations to define and achieve the impact they wanted to have on the world. Today, we're chatting with Erica about how small businesses can make a difference in their communities. Thanks for joining us today, Erica.
Thanks for having me. Happy to be here.
Yeah, I'm so happy to have you. You have an extensive background working with nonprofits, and I'm really excited. I'd like to know a little bit more about that background.
Yeah, totally. So I've started my career in nonprofits. I've been in nonprofits for a long time. When I first graduated college, I started working at an organization called Declare Yourself, and we did voter registration. So it was a national, nonpartisan voter registration organization. And through the power of celebrity endorsements, viral videos, and an online voter registration tool, we were able to register about 2 million voters for the 2008 election. And while I was there, I also traveled around the country with my boss's print of the Declaration of Independence, bringing it to libraries and schools and museums across the country.
Great.
And it was great to see kind of the power of pairing a historic document like that with registering to vote. So here's the legitimate reason why you should, and here's the action that you can take.
Makes it so real. Yeah.
It was great. And, post-election, I was also really interested in staying in the civic engagement space. So I wanted to figure out how can you get people and activate them on social issues and then drive them to vote. So I started working at a startup called Purpose in New York. And we did consulting for nonprofits and brands and NGOs, like you said. And I was able to work there on more than 20 different issues, ranging from cancer prevention to climate to internet freedom and net neutrality, all across the board, doing kind of mobilization and engagement on social issues.
Wow. You talked a little bit about civic engagement. A lot of our businesses on the Google Small Business community have heard of the term corporate social responsibility. Mm-hmm. Can you tell us a little bit about what that means for small businesses?
Yeah, I think at its base, the idea of corporate social responsibility is investing back into your community, and not only, improving the financial and economic well-being of your community by being in business and contributing to the local economy, but also feeding back into the communities that you exist in and caring about the issues that your neighbors and your family and friends also care about.
Great. Can you actually give me some examples of how businesses can do this?
Yeah. I think there's a range of different ways that businesses can get involved with NGOs. There's, for example, the one-to-one model that Tom's and Warby Parker are using. When you buy a pair of shoes from Tom's, they will actually donate a pair to a child in need in a developing country. Other businesses like Google, for example, do employee gift matching. So you can actually match every donation that your employees make. I think there's also, with the rise of things like Catch-A-Fire, which is a platform where you can do skills-based volunteering, you can actually encourage your employees to use the skills that they use day to day in building your business, and then contribute those skills to a nonprofit. So, for example, if someone focuses on marketing, they can help a nonprofit with their marketing outreach.
Oh, that's really neat.
Yeah.
So I've actually seen in a very, very small level. I live in Iowa, and I've driven by highways that say highway adopted by a local business name, or Little League teams that have the shirt of a local business. So there's stuff as big as what you mentioned with Tom's, mm-hmm. and Warby Parker's doing it with sunglasses, and there's stuff as small as just like working with your local Little League or cleaning up a highway and sponsoring to do that. So that's really, really great advice.
And I think the amazing thing about those kinds of initiatives is that it's not only good for the nonprofit, and it's not only your business investing in the community and building infrastructure and building effective programs, but it's also good advertising. At the end of the day, when someone sees your logo on a Little League t-shirt, they're probably more likely to go in and invest in your business because they know that you care about the same things they do.
Right, I remember driving by that highway and thinking, I love that place. I'm going to actually go to breakfast there this Saturday because they have the best omelets. So
delicious.
It's definitely a win-win for the businesses and for the communities.
Awesome.
We work with businesses of all shapes and sizes. What's the minimum a business could do to help out?
I think there's so many different ways that a business can start to give back to their community. But one of my favorites is actually building social good into your everyday. My mom owns a small business. She runs an interior design firm called Just Joe in Los Angeles. And part of what she does every day is creates beautiful communities for people to feel at home and at rest. And so one of the things that she likes to do is, she gives back to nonprofits by making donations, but part of what's most rewarding for her is to actually use the skills that she has as a designer to contribute to local NGOs. So one example is she worked with Lane, which is a Los Angeles youth network. And what they do is they really try to help homeless youth who are in transition, kids who have gotten kicked out of their homes or just kind of facing hardship in their lives. And so they had actually recently gotten a grant from a local celebrity to rebuild their community center. And so what my mom did was went in, interviewed all the children, understood kind of the needs that they had as a constituency, and built a space that was really geared towards helping them get back up on their feet. So they created a computer center where they could go get connected online, a kitchen where they could all cook together, but it was really about her using those skills to give back to that nonprofit.
Businesses in the community already provide a service or a product. So great advice. They can actually use what they're already doing and what they're already good at to give back to their community.
Yeah, I can actually also give another example from my mom. One of the other projects that my mom worked on was a private residence, and part of the construction work that they needed to do was actually deconstructing a kitchen and taking all of the existing wood out and disposing of it. And so one of the things that she recommended to her client was, you could hire this firm that's very cheap, they'll do it very quickly, and they'll do a really good job. But for a little bit more money, you could hire this nonprofit who actually deconstructs kitchens and takes all of that and recycles it into new kitchens and new building materials. And so I think there's also something really interesting in building into your day-to-day work small ways to give back to the community.
You used to work at Purpose. You mentioned that earlier. So let's chat about that a little bit. Purpose's mission is to move people to change the world. How do you move people?
Yeah, I think, when I was working at Purpose, a lot of my work was working with businesses and nonprofits and trying to figure out how they can leverage their community to achieve social change. And so I think, making sure that every campaign you run is very timely, making sure that the audience or the consumer base that you're activating knows why the action you're asking them to take is relevant at that time is critical. And then also making sure that what you're investing in is impactful is important. So when you're looking at different nonprofit organizations to give back to, understand where your money is going or where your efforts are going and what the reverberating impact is that you'll have on the issue. Because then when it comes time to report back to your consumer base or your constituency or your clients, it's very easy to say, look at this contribution that you made. This is the impact that it had in the world. So I think that sense of report back is really important. As a business, you want to report back to your community on the impact that you collectively had, which helps build a strong kind of consumer base that's invested in your business as well as the issue.
You just mentioned something that I'd like to point out again, timeliness. What do you mean by timeliness? How important is that?
I think timeliness is important because you're kind of speaking to people within a community that exists in real time. It's not that your campaigns exist in a vacuum. And so building on issues that are current and relevant to your communities is really important. That's why you saw such great success with the Ice Bucket Challenge. Mm-hmm. People and even businesses, Google in our offices around the world actually did the Ice Bucket Challenge. And part of the reason that they did it was because it was relevant to people in the moment. And that campaign has raised over $70 million now for charity. And so I think that's another important point, that these campaigns don't always have to be driven by you. You can participate in the broader zeitgeist of what's going on in the world and still be just as effective.
Currency, relevancy, so important.
Yes.
How can social and economic models, the internet, actually help to drive and motivate people?
I think the internet is really critical tool in the small business toolkit. Not only can it help you spread the word, but it can also help you build community among your consumers in your constituency. So ensuring that you have a robust social media presence and a really strong content strategy that you can then feed out to all of the people who are listening to you helps organizations and businesses that don't necessarily have a big marketing budget. So it can really kind of be helpful in getting the word out, maintaining a strong community, and recruiting new people to be your consumers.
We're just about out of time. Is there anything you want to leave us with, anything that all the businesses watching should remember and take away from this?
I think the most important thing that small businesses have to remember is that small initiatives can make just as much of a difference as large ones. So you don't have to be a gigantic corporation, a Google, a Walmart, a Target. You don't have to donate millions of dollars to causes. You don't have to rustle up a small army of volunteers. Really, every single thing that a business does can have a huge impact on a nonprofit. So when you're talking about community engagement and giving back to the community, every single action that you take counts. So I just encourage every business to do as much as they can for nonprofits because they're definitely worthy causes.
Thank you so much for your time today. This has been really helpful. I love that you ended with that. Every single action counts. All right, that's all the time we have today. Thanks again to Erica for joining us, and thank you for watching. On behalf of the Get Your Business Online team and the Google Small Business community, I wish you great success growing your business.